Hello, welcome back to Final Fantasy V, Super Nintendo. Okay, so last time in the village of Kerwin or Carwin or whatever, another one of those cases where the name of the village depends upon what version of the game you're playing. As again, I know I've made this topic rant many times through the course of this channel, nearly 3 years worth now, but I love that they remake old games, like the first Final Fantasy game for prime example. I love that they remake old games, fixing the bugs and correcting the glitches and actually making it playable. But I frickin' hate how they think they gotta rename everything. Then you get a game like Final Fantasy IV that gets remade a ton of times, or this game, and each time it seems like villages have a different name with each subsequent remake, magic spells, and like Dragon Quest games. I love that they remake old games, making them better, but goddammit, why can't they at least keep the names the same? I mean, people used to always argue that with the remakes are bringing back the original intended Japanese names. Okay, that's fine if that was the case. But, yeah. Then it gets remade again and it has a different... There's new... So much for originality. If that was the case, the next remake would still have the same names as the last one did. You just lost your own argument. Obviously, bringing back the original names had nothing to do with it. Besides that, in Dragon Quest case, remakes are what changed a lot of the names, like Dragon Quest V, Pankraz. Yeah. The remake changed his name. The original fan translation of the Dragon Quest V original had it right. It was the remake that screwed up the original name for the sake of puns. Of course, that is, the nature of recent Dragon Quest games, aka Pun Quest, as I sometimes jokingly call the series. I love Dragon Quest games, don't get me wrong. Easily my second favorite video game franchise behind Zelda. But god dang. Anyways, North Mountain. Yeah. One of the few places in the game that never did get a name change. Pretty much still North Mountain in any version of the game you played. Yeah. Okay. Oh shoot, I probably should have stayed at the end back in town. I just thought of that. At the end of the last video before I left town, I should have spent the night at the inn. And one of my were actually there's no bosses in this next. Oops. Had to stop myself there because thinking better of that, yes, there will be a boss battle in this sequence. Forgot about that. Trying to remember my way through this. As always, I'm not interested in 100%ing the game, getting everything. Because like a lot of these RPG games, treasure chests sometimes are so far out of the way, and then you take the time to make that trip to go to get, and it's just all you get is a menial potion or something that you could have just bought at the item shop back in the town you were in last time. Hardly worth all that extra travel just to get to it. Or it's an item that a weapon or armor upgrade that you already have because you bought it at the last armor shop. Which, you know, I don't mind when that happens. I'd rather buy the stuff in the shop, and if I find it in a chest somewhere along the way, so be it. I could just sell off the duplicate. But yeah, it's just the idea. Why bother going out of my way for every treasure chest when half of them are... Of course. Well, right now battles aren't taking too long with this current party members or job party member setup, but I am kind of missing my usual methods, turning everybody, just changing everybody back to the normal job class, equipping the best weapons for everybody, and just plowing through every battle. Which, as I go backwards, might end up doing by the end of this playthrough anyways. Okay, watch out for these. Someone back in town warned us about these flowers here. Poisonous. So you don't want to touch them. Granted, I have... At least I should. Oh yeah, okay. Granted, I have 20 antidote potions, so... And the antidote spell, so... If I should accidentally... It wouldn't exactly be a game over or anything, just... Ah! Tombstones! What is this? Portrait of Ruin? Tombstones attack. Well, actually, that's... Yeah. Not Portrait of Ruin, I'm thinking of one of the other Nintendo DS Castlevania games, Dawn of Sorrow. Yeah. Actually, no, they were in Portrait of Ruin too, the Forest of Doom portrait. The fourth one in sequence order. That's right. Remember that now, because when I did my playthrough of that game a couple years ago, I made that pun joke reference to Wizard of Oz. Tombstones? What? Why are they attacking? What is this, Wizard of Oz? How would you like to have someone come along and carve something into you? Instead of Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy picks the apple, how would you like to have someone come along and pick something off of you? In this case, it's a tombstone, so its beef would be, how'd you like to have someone come along and carve something into you? Oh yeah, save point. Granted, I shouldn't have a problem with this, but famous last words, perhaps. So, actually, why am I doing that? I got these. Granted, I don't have to worry about MP. I haven't used any magic spells yet. Save my game. Just in case. Somebody left their helmet. Oh, okay. Oop. Hey, wait a minute. Who shot that? Hiru. What is it with... It's a frickin' dragon. Why is it only the PS1 version here in America actually call them dragons? Otherwise it's Hiru or Windrake or... Really? Yeah. Okay, now with this dialogue, how does she know that Ferris is a girl? I mean, obviously it's more obvious to everyone else, but of course, granted, this is fan translation blunder. In all of the official American remakes, you know, the Game Boy Advance or even the more recent Pixel remaster, the dialogue here is still he fell, but. Okay, what are we, circus trapeze artists now? We're gonna... Okay, I guess it worked. Walk the wire. Walk the high wire. Boss battle. Oh yeah? Why is Lena... Oh yeah, poisoned. Okay. I was gonna say, why is Lena looking pale? Okay, you cast 90. There. Okay. Oh. Calling help, huh? Wow, that was... Okay, that was easier than I thought it would be. Well, still gotta get rid of him. But... Oh, it doesn't heal much, but... Hey, he's got more... Oh, never mind. That Forza, whatever, Titan seemed to have more hit points than the main boss did. Yeah. That was quicker than I thought it would be. Oh well. I mean, we are at level, what, 14, something like that? I don't remember. But... Okay, not quite. Level 12. Probably, like... I don't know, haven't really watched too many other people play this game, but I would say I'm probably at least like 5 levels over the suggested levels for this area. But, you know, that's just me, over leveled all the way, plow through random battles. And like I've said many a time before, the downside of that is even boss battles are a little easier than they should be because of how over leveled you are. Damn it. Yeah. In most games, anyways. Some games they take that seem to have taken that into account, and even boss battles can still be tough. You know, even if you are over leveled for all of the other battles, like Etrian Odyssey games. But Anyways, we're here. Well, cockatrices. Uh-oh. Do I have any soft potion or gold needles or whatever you want to call them? Of course, in all of the Final Fantasy games I've played, which is all of them 1 through 10, the NES original of Part 1 has the most annoying cockatrices. Seems like ever since then, the likeliness of them petrifying you is drastically reduced. Actually, no, scratch that. The Game Boy Advance remake, or even the Pixel Remastered remake of Final Fantasy II, the cockatrices that are in that area around the city. Okay, fine. Ever since Final Fantasy II, cockatrices seem less likely to petrify you. And again, obviously it's a frickin' dragon. Here it's a Hiru, and other versions of the game it's a wind drake. It's a frickin' dragon. No, never mind. Point made. Lana, what are you? Reina, R-E-I-N-A or something like that in the PlayStation version of the game. What's it doing? Okay, whatever. Oh yeah? Okay. There is an optional cutscene sequence you can watch later in the game that'll explain why that is, or at least attempt to. For now, well, transportation issues remedied. We can now get to the next town south of here. Granted, we still can't fly over mountains yet, but can't get around this way and down here. Which, if you're not interested in optional side, well, not really side quests, but side content, if you just want to get on with the story of the game, this is where you go next. However, now that I can, see, where was that? Yeah, there it is. There's some optional storyline tidbits that we can now see back where the game started. Lana's hometown, home castle. Oh, that's right, this one doesn't land in trees. Okay. Yep, we're all fine. Of course, he's talking to Lana. These people probably don't even know Bards or anybody else in the party. That dialogue was aimed exclusively at Lana herself. Yeah. Not exact word for word, but basically basically the subject, or in a similar situation in part 4 with Edge, the ninja, just recently joining your party, and everybody saying how he needs to worry about his kingdom. He's trying to remind them all, it's not just our kingdom, it's the entire world. And yes, I remember that because I was just recently playing the Pixel remaster of part 4. What do you know? There's actually a version of the game that makes part 4 enjoyable. Imagine that. For decades, I didn't think that was humanly possible to make that game enjoyable. But they somehow seem to have done the impossible with the Pixel remaster of Final Fantasy IV. And yes, I know. So many Final Fantasy fans love that game. At least not until the Pixel remaster, never did. Played it when it first came out as Final Fantasy II on the SNES, and hated it. More than that 4-letter word, hate, can begin to explain. Anyways. So yeah, Final Fantasy. Another one of those series where the often fan-held favorite is one of my least favorites in the series. Kind of like with Zelda and Twilight Princess. Most fans, at least if not their ultimate favorite Zelda game, up there as one of them. Not for me. As I've said a million times already, but yeah. In Final Fantasy, you have part 4. Anyways. Why is it always seem to be the case that someone in the party can't sleep, so they gotta get up and walk around? Sister? Twisted Sister? No. Yeah, Lena, what the hell? So? She could have stole that from anyone. She was a pirate leader for how many years? She could have stole that from one of her victims for all you know, Lena. Doesn't mean anything. And again, repeated for emphasis, she was a pirate, not only a pirate, but a pirate leader for how many years before we met her? Oh, there goes my phone alerts again. Oh, never mind. Heard that in... Heard that Zelda Minish Cap title screen music, as brief as it is what I have set for my alert chime on my phone. Anyways, so Lena thinks Varys is her sister, huh? What are we talking about here? Oh, this ain't the one, but... Somewhere in this town, somewhere in this castle, there's a person that you can optionally talk to add a little further detail on this plot twist. I think it's this lady. Sarissa. Yeah. Lena's long-lost sister. And that's the character I think I referred to in the opening sequence when talking about the things I don't like about the Sony PlayStation version of the game. Granted, I do have some nostalgia for that version of the game being the first official release of the game here in the United States, granted 7 years after it came out in Japan on the Super Famicom. But still, the first official release of the game. So there is a bit of nostalgia for the PlayStation 1 version of this game. But Varys pirate dialogue was a little annoying. Slow load times, which usually I don't mind, but that version of this game kind of tested that patience. And the fact that Princess Sarissa, Lena's sister, wherever she is now, story-wise within this game, in the Sony PlayStation version of the game, her name was Princess Salsa. Yes, I wish I could say I was kidding, that I was trying to make some taco seasoning puns, but no. Every time I used to play that version of the game, I'd see that name and I'd think, come on, are we talking about a princess? Or taco spices? Salsa. Damn it, now I'm hungry for tacos. Thanks, yeah. At least here it's an actual human name. Oh, yeah? So Lena had a sister. Anyways, enough about Lena's would-be sister. The main reason I came back here isn't for that dialogue. Oh, that's right, he's not here. There's also an item we can now get. Or is that over this way? Yeah. Okay, where's over? Well, there's 3 of them actually, but only one of them is a... No, not that one. No, not that one. Yes, that is the reason I came back here. Optional storyline dialogue with Lena's would-be sister. Nice for story purposes, but I wouldn't have come all the way back. Well, I say that like it was a grand journey to get back here. I wouldn't have come back here just for that alone. But this added the extra motivation to do so. Granted, eventually we'll come up to a shop that sells those, but for now, that's still some time away yet. So. Look at that. Almost double the attack power. Cool. So Bart's will be set for weapon equipment for quite some time to come. Alright, now then. So much for Lena's homecoming. Now, actually, I think that's later in the game, where we can go back and visit Varys' old crew of pirates. Yeah, right now we can't get over the mountain, so We could go back there, but we'd have to go through the long way like we did initially in video 1. Besides, again, I don't think anything happens with that yet anyways. I think that's later in the game. Anyway, so for now, I mean, there's... Can I get in there yet? Or no, that's surrounded by mountains too, yeah. Never mind. There's another town up here somewhere, but it's surrounded by mountains that I can't fly over yet, so can't do that yet either. So, all right, well, I guess we move on with main story progression. Then there's that tower, but nothing to really do there yet. Keyword there yet. So. All right, we'll do this next time as I'm already past the 30-minute mark here. So, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Like the world music here. Of course, this game has a lot of good music. Anyway.